And we're back. This is Swami Lee here with SwamiLee's predictions for Week 8 of the NFL. With Week 8, it's going to be a interesting week. I actually found myself having more problems picking these than the previous 2 weeks. And let's be honest, the Swami had a rough week last week, getting only 2 wins out of 5. The Cowboys got crushed, and of course that cheap shot didn't help matters any on Andy Dalton. Then we had the Packers, won handily, as the Swami said they would. Then both the Seahawks and Falcons lose in the last-minute type of play. So the Swami was literally 2 plays away from being 4-1. It was not pleasant. And of course the Rams crushed the Bears, as the Swami predicted. So I believe the Swami will avoid the Falcons moving forward. They're terrible. They're just terrible. I don't even want to talk about the Falcons. I don't even want to go after the Falcons anymore. So they're brutal. Mr. Falcon, Mr. Blank, whatever your name is, your team stinks. You stink. You need to do something about that real fast. When the Lions come back and beat you, it's time, okay? It's just time. So the Swami will deal with the fact that he had a brutal week. He's still 6-4 overall, which means I am winning. But a brutal 2-3 performance, which hopefully will be rectified this week with our first game, which is the Rams -3 over the Dolphins. I know. Tua-mania. He's going to be the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I have a feeling that people are betting on the Dolphins because of him keeping this spread down. In my opinion, you're going to see Jared Goff have a much, much better game than Tua, who I think will put together a decent game because Herbert put together a good game, Burrow put together a good game in their first starts, and Tua is supposed to be just as good. But I'm pretty confident the Rams are going to win. It's going to be probably a 23-16 type of game. I don't think they're going to score a ton of points, but I do think the Rams will win handily. They won't be a close game in the last minute or anything like that. And the Rams will definitely cover. So moving forward to game 2, we're going to pick the Packers -6.5 over the Vikings. The Packers have treated the Swami well so far. And of course, Kirk Cousins is the quarterback for the Vikings. Look for Aaron Jones to have a big game at running back. And look for the Packers to, again, win this one with no problem. At least 2 touchdowns. The Vikings, not a good NFL team. And I think the Packers are one of the best teams in the NFL. So count on the Packers to win that game with no problem whatsoever. Expect Aaron Rodgers to have a big game, but Aaron Jones, I think, is going to rush for a couple touchdowns. This is a very mediocre Vikings team with a very mediocre quarterback. Our next game is going to be the Raiders +2.5 over the Browns. I just don't see the Browns covering the spread. The Raiders are a pretty good team, and believe it or not, the Browns are a pretty good team. But I just have a feeling the Raiders lost last week. The Browns won last week. Some people are saying Baker Mayfield is now going to be this crazy, crazy good stallion. And hey, maybe he will be. If he beats the Raiders this week with a big game, I think we're all going to have to respect him more. But until he proves himself, he doesn't have my respect. I think Josh Jacobs is going to run all over the Browns this time. I mean, Derek Carr has been decent, not great. The Raiders have been decent, not great. I'm expecting, again, big things out of Josh Jacobs, and I'm expecting the Raiders to make up for their last week performance. Because then again, last week was a crazy, crazy week in football. I mean, the Patriots, when was the last time the Patriots scored 6 points and got blown out? I realize that Brady's not there anymore, but seriously, imagine for a moment, in a million years, that would happen. I don't think anybody could imagine that happening. So moving on, we have the Colts -2.5 over the Lions. The Swami is continuing to go against the Lions, who caught everyone by surprise last week coming back, but it was against the Falcons. They blew a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter to the Cowboys, I think it was. So nobody should be too surprised. But Phillip Rivers, he's due for a big game. I'm talking a 350, 3-touchdown game. I think this is the week for it. The Colts are a decent team. They're not a great team, but they're not traveling that far, being that Indianapolis and Detroit aren't that far away from each other. And I think it's about time that we see the Philip Rivers that we used to know and love. I mean, he's definitely on the tail end of his career, but I don't think he's quite over yet. I think he could take his team potentially to the playoffs this year, but I wouldn't bet my life on it. But in this game, I definitely would pick the Colts to overtake the Lions. If the Lions do cover, I'll have to start wondering if maybe they deserve just a little bit of respect, which probably not many people think, myself included, of course. Lastly, I think is a pretty obvious one. I don't think there's anybody who's going to bet this differently. Taking the Eagles minus 7.5 over the Cowboys. Now this could change. That horrible cheap shot that Andy Dalton took. I mean, I'm no Andy Dalton fan, but that was horrendous. There should be a suspension after that. But if Ben DiNucci, the 7th round pick, is starting for the Cowboys, I think it's going to be pretty difficult day for him. And if Dalton starts, he's one hit away from probably being out for the season. I think the Cowboys are in trouble. I think Ben DiNucci is not going to be the player that is going to do it for them. But right now, him and Garrett Gilbert are all they have. So that's a lot of problems. I think this is the week Carson Wentz really steps up. I mean, he's had good, he's had bad, but I think this is the week that he steps up. And being from Philly area, and my wife being a Phillies fan, an Eagles fan, I should say, both actually, but being an Eagles fan, I do watch a lot of the Eagles games, and Wentz just hasn't really put together that studly game. He had a good finish against the Ravens. He almost came back, but I don't think that he is quite put together what you expect from the second pick in the draft, who's making a heck of a lot of money. So I'm calling for him to have a big game, and again, I expect that to be a blowout. If the Cowboys are within 10 points, it's a win for the Cowboys at this stage of the game. There's just, at this stage, what do you do if you're the Cowboys? You got Zeke, but you've got no quarterback. Andy Dalton, I think that hit is going to be, he may be out for a couple weeks. And if he's not out for a couple weeks, he may be playing scared. I don't know about you guys, but if somebody hit me like that, I'd probably be playing scared for quite a while. So, looks like we have the Rams minus 3 over the Dolphins. We have the Packers minus 6.5 over the Vikings. We have the Raiders plus 2.5 over the Browns. We have the Colts minus 2.5 over the Lions. And lastly, we have the Eagles minus 7.5 over the Cowboys. And again, I have been asked, I'm using FanDuel's point spreads that the day that I do the video, which of course is today, Wednesday. We're going to hopefully have a big week. Swami's looking at hopefully at least 4 out of 5 again. That would be really nice. 2 and 3 is a brutal week. We certainly don't want that to happen again. But those 2 last minute, when you're the Seahawks and you have a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, you should not lose. And when you're playing the Lions and you have a lead with a minute to go in the game and the Lions need a touchdown, you should not lose. It's plain and simple. You should not lose. So, again, lesson learned, stay away from the Falcons. Number 1, lesson learned. Number 2, I have a feeling Kyler Murray may be better than any of us thought. So what are your thoughts? Let me know what your thoughts are. Hopefully you'll take my advice and make millions and millions and millions of dollars. But in the meantime, best of luck to you. We'll see you back here, same bat time, same bat channel. See if we can go at least 4-1 this week and make up for that brutal performance, because it was a brutal performance. We do thank you so much for tuning in, and have yourself a great day.